Hi, everybody. This is Virginia Milner for the DeKalb County Library System. And the day I'm doing this, the evening I'm doing this, is Super Bowl Sunday. And the Super Bowl is already begun. But as a not a football fan, uh, are you actually booing me right now? What? Anyway, the only thing I get out of the Super Bowl is the commercials and the halftime show. So sue me. Anyway, so because that's not of interest to me today, I decided to do another little video. Why? Because Puxatawny Phil did not see his shadow. And for those of you in the United States, you know that means we're having an early spring. Yay! So I thought I would do something indicative of what I love to get out of spring, and that is, well, part of it is some lovely flowers. So I thought I'd do something very nice and sweet and airy and not heavy in some earrings. So I'm going to show you one type of beaded earring that we can make and make it into several different earrings. That's what we're going to do today. And it's not going to take anything crazy. All it's going to take is your usual pliers, your round nose pliers, nice and round all the way around here. Start larger here, back here at the hilt, and get gradually smaller towards the tip. Square pliers, or flat pliers, which are slightly rounded on the outside, but then on the inside, they're perfectly flat. If you ever buy these, make sure they don't have those little grips or ridges on the inside, because that will chew up your wire and you don't really want that. The last thing that you need is a pair of cutters, and they do just that. They cut your wire. These are so old. Look at that. The arm is coming off. The little cover is coming out. Get up there. These are so old that the little spring came out, but they cut beautifully, so I'm keeping them. I'm not changing them, even though I've got about 15 other pair. What can I say? Last but not least, you'll need a ruler with which to measure your wire. The biggest component of wire that we're using will be 22 gauge. 22 gauge wire, and we'll also use 20 gauge wire to make our little ear wires. So let's go ahead and get started and see how we do with this. Okay, I did not tell you what beads we're using. I'm using 4mm crystals. I'm going to bring that. I'm using 4mm crystals because I think that's going to make it look really pretty. I've already done a couple of these and they came out really nice. So I'm using 4mm crystal rondelles for the earrings. And I'm going to add a couple of little components to it. But basically, all you really need is 4mm rondelles or rounds. You can use rounds. You can even use bicones if you want to. But I'm using 4mm rondelles and 22 gauge wire. So I'm going to go ahead and measure out my wire. I just need about 6 inches to make my little flower. Let's get 6 inches of wire. Okay. All right. And so what I need to do, I'm just going to create a little U shape here. And I'm going to start with these beads. I need 6 of them, 6 little 4mm rondelles. I'm just going to slide them on my wire. Oh, you know what? I have people in classes, I'm going to show you something, that say, oh, I can't find the hole. Well, yeah, it's really a challenge when you're using your fingers on these tiny little beads in order to move enough out of the way to grab the hole, to get to the hole of the bead. Rondelles are neat because when you drop them down or put them down on your flat surface, they automatically land with the drilled side up and down. So all you need to do is poke your little wire in the drilled part, slide it on, get another one, just poke it right through, slide that on, and they always land that way because of the way they're made. So it's really very, very convenient. So I'm sliding all 6 of my 4mm beads on. And I'm using these blue ones. That's what I get. I'm using these little blue rondelles. I know that's not normally a flower color. Well, there are some flowers that are blue, but I just thought it would be fun and flirty and just I like the idea of it. Just trying to talk my way through. Having dropped all of my beads. Oh, I am just glad they didn't go on the floor. That would have really been humiliating for you to have to watch me roll around on the floor while I find my beads. Anyway, 6 4mm rondelles on my wire, and I want them right down in the center. And then I'm going to cross my wire over and just pull it until I have a nice round circle with my beads in it. There we go. So I have a nice round circle. And what I want to do is just give my wire one twist, actually just a half a twist. So this is going to end up on that side and this one's going to end up on the other side. So I just want to give it a nice little twist to secure my beads. So there we go. Make sure that's round. There. And so now what I'm going to do is take the top, the back wire, and I'm going to push both wires down. And that back wire is going to house my next bead, my 7th bead. So I'm going to grab my 7th bead, string that on my wire, and I'm going to push that down right in the center of my circle of beads. Okay, then I'm going to string my wire between the 3rd and 4th bead down here at the bottom. Then I'm going to wrap that wire. I'm just going to bring it around the back and bring it up or down around the front or back, depending on what you decide the front or the back is going to be. And then I'm going to bring that up also in between the 3rd and 4th bead. Also, if you choose, you can also use 24 gauge wire for this. I just wanted something a little stronger. It does not have to be 22 gauge. I would not try 20 gauge. I think that'll be too thick. So bring that through, wrap that around like so. I just brought that around and up. And there, that's what I have so far. I'm going to bring this down just a tiny bit. And then at the top, I'm going to make a loop. So I'm going to slide my wire down my pliers about a 1/3 of the way. It doesn't need to be too big a loop because it's just going to be what you put what you use to connect to your ear wire. So I'm going to go down 1/3 of the way down my pliers, bring my wire over the top of my pliers and down the front here. Then without shifting my wire, I'm going to open my pliers up, reposition them until the two little arms are stacked on top of each other. Then I'm going to bring the wire under the pliers right here in between the beads and the pliers. So now I have a nice little loop. So now I'm going to grab the face of my wire. I always call this flat part the face. I'm going to grab the face of my wire. You don't have to grip it too tightly. And then I'm going to wrap the tail around my just between the beads and my loop. And I want it to be very organic looking, so I'm going to wrap it around several times until I have a nice little buildup of a wire. It's a little blurry. Already trying to get this to conform to what I want it to do. Come on. Clear up. There. There we go. So once I have my wire wrapped, I'm going to cut off. I'm going to make this the front. The back where the bead is kind of popping out, I'm going to make that the back. So I'm going to go ahead and cut off my wire until the little tip is in the back. I'm going to snip that off as close as I can get. And if you have pliers like this, you'll see that one side is concave. It has a little indentation in here. The other side is completely flat. Always use the flat part to cut your wire, so that way you can get it as close as you need to the other wraps. So I'm going to cut that off. Notice how I hold on to the tail of that so it doesn't go flying across the room. And then this little part right here where I cut it, I'm going to use my flat pliers to squeeze that down nice and snug, so there's nothing to catch or to scratch my ear or anything when I'm wearing it. So then this is the bottom, this is the top, this is the part that's going to go in my ear wire, and this is the bottom, and I'm going to make a loop on the bottom. Again, I'm going to bend my wire back just a little bit over to the side, slide my wire down around 1/3 of the way down my pliers, bring the wire over the top of my pliers and just down the front there in front of my beads, open my pliers up, stack my two arms of my pliers on top of each other, and bring the rest of that tail around under my pliers, between my pliers and the top of my bead. And I have a nice little loop. And grab my flat pliers and wrap the wire around, just like I did on the other side. And I'm going to cut that off right there in the back. I have a teeny tiny little bit that I'm not going to be able to hold on to, so I'm going to turn it down into this spool so that when I cut it, it's nicely captured in there. Yeah, this isn't one of them that has several little pieces of wire I was going to show you. Then I'll take my square pliers and push this wire down. Now, You can push it from the front or you can push it from the back. I find it easier really if I push it from the back because I can kind of sneak up on the wire. I say, I'm sneaking up on the wire so that it doesn't see me coming and it can't run from me like it really will. You just push that down until it's nice and snug against the, ooh, I still feel it, against the rest of the wires. Get down in there. There we go. Neaten my wires up a little bit. And there is my little part of my little beaded earring. Now what I'm going to add to this is the top, is a little, I'm going to add a little dangle just because why not? I thought that would be really pretty. I've got this little red one. So this is a little red teardrop. See if I can get a good view of that little guy. Kind of hard to see. I'll put it on this. There, I think you get a better view of it on this little white napkin that's got a little spot on it. There we go. So there's my little teardrop. I'm going to add that to my little earring. Yeah, let's do it. So all I need for that is a couple of inches. I'm going to go ahead and just give myself 2, 3 inches. I'll give myself 3 inches of wire. I know that's going to be too much, but that's okay. I'd rather have more than I need. Probably need only about 2.5 inches. And why are we blurry again? I don't know what's going on with this camera. Okay. Snip that off. And I'm going to make a little infinity. I'm going to make this a head pin with a little infinity symbol on the bottom. So it's going to be a teeny tiny one. But I wanted to, I don't want to do a spiral on the bottom of this because it's so small. This is about 6, this is only 6 millimeters. So I don't want to overpower it. So what I need to do is grab the tip of my wire with the tip of my pliers, the very tip. Try to make sure nothing's sticking out the back. And I know that's a challenge, but it's a challenge we need to try and conquer. Okay, then I'm going to turn my pliers, just small turns until I can get a small loop. I'm just going to keep turning until the tip of my pliers bumps up against the tail of my wire, just like that. And then I'm going to slide my pliers under that loop, again, right here at the tip. And I'm going to rotate my pliers in the other direction. This loop is going this way. This one's going to go that way, the opposite direction. And just rotate until I have a little figure 8. So now here is my little infinity link. Make that into my little head pin. Straighten that out. And there it is. Nice. So now I'm going to slide on my bead. It's kind of a little pear shape, little teardrop. Isn't that cute? And we're going to attach it to the rest of my earring. So what I'm going to do is, again, bend back the wire. See how much wire I have? Way too much. It really only took it's only going to take about 2 inches, maybe 2.5, depending on how big you want your little infinity symbol to be. I didn't want it to be too big. Okay, I'm going to slide down actually, I'm going to make this one a little smaller. I'm going to slide down about 1/4 of the way down my pliers, about 1/4 of an inch away from the tip. That's all I need. Then I'm going to bring the wire over the top of my pliers and down the side of my bead. Hold on to my bead and my wire, open my pliers, reposition them, and bring the tail of wire all the way under my pliers. And now I have a nice little loop. Now, this is going to attach to this. So before I go any further, the other thing I want is for my infinity symbol to show. So it's not going to attach like that unless you put a jump ring on. So what I need to do is turn this loop so that it's going front and back. My infinity symbol will be going right to left, and my loop will be going front to back. This is very malleable wire, and it's easy to fix. So I'm just going to turn my wire until I have a horizontal infinity symbol. And my loop is going the other way. So loop is horizontal and the infinity is going vertical, or the loop, infinity is horizontal and the loop is vertical. As long as they're opposite like that, you're okay. So next thing I want to do is attach it to the main part of my earring. So I'm going to slide, go ahead and put my, stem of my wire inside the loop. Now this is very front and back. I want this to be the front. So when I put my beads into the loop, I need to make sure that the back part is facing up, because when I put it into the loop, it's going to flip around to the back. So there we have it. And then I'm going to close up my loop. Grab my square pliers, hold on to the face of my little loop, and just wrap this around a couple of times. It doesn't have to be as big unless you want a cap on your bead, in which case I think I will. I'm going to keep on going and give it just a little bit of a cap on top. Just like that. Cute. And I'm going to cut off the excess wire. Looks like I have about an inch and a quarter left. So yeah, you could have done this in 2, but I would give myself 2.5. Snip that off. Matter of fact, I'm going to snip it off even closer so that the end of my wire lands right here in the middle of my bead instead of off here to the side. Okay, so grab my little spool because I've got a teeny bit of wire there. Grab my round nose pliers and very carefully, because this is a crystal and you don't want to accidentally break that tip. So very carefully push down the wire. Nice and close. There we go. A little bit sticking up there. There we go. And here is my little earring. Just something sweet and simple. So let's go ahead and make an ear wire. So what I need for that is 20 gauge wire. And all I need is about 2 inches. You can do 2.5, but you really only need about 2. It depends, I guess, really on how long you like this little stem part to be. And someone asked me, let me go ahead and cut this. Someone said, well, how do you keep your earrings from pushing out of your ears? There are these little rubber backs that you can purchase, that you can slide on your earring or on your ear wire to keep it from that. It's a little stopper and it keeps the earring from pushing out of your ears. And somebody in one of my classes said, because they said, if you don't have that, use the little piece of the tip of a pencil eraser. What? That is such an excellent idea. I told her I was going to use that, and heaven forbid, I cannot think of her name. So I could tell everybody that it was her ideas. I told her I was going to use it, and she said, go ahead. So anyway, pencil eraser. Use a pencil eraser as a stopper on the back of your ear wire to keep this from pushing out of your ears. How brilliant is that? Let's make this ear wire. I'm being way too chatty. Okay, so I'm going to, again, take the tip of my wire and just slide it down. Doesn't need to be too big, about a quarter of the way, about a quarter of an inch over towards the back, just a quarter of an inch away from the tip of my pliers, my round nose pliers. Make sure nothing's sticking out the back here. And now notice how I hold very close. I put my fingers on the pliers and my thumb very close to the pliers on the wire. That way I feel like I have a little more control when I'm trying to make this loop with the very tip of my wire. So let's go ahead and turn. And I just give small turns, then open my pliers, trying not to let the wire shift, even though it's going to want to. See, just popped right out of there. Put it back in position. Make another small turn, and then keep doing this, sort of like you're opening a jar. Just keep turning until you have a loop. So there's my loop. And now I'm going to grab an ink pen. You can use an ink pen. You can use the side of your pliers, any small cylindrical item. Just slide it back here behind my loop, just above where the round part is. So right there, just above where the loop ends in the back. Then rotate your wire, rotate the pin, and wrap it around the wire, like so. And once you have that done, it's a little snugger, a little more snug. There. Then just take it off the pin. And then this is a very short tail, but that's okay. As a matter of fact, if for some reason your tail is a little shorter than you want, then just slide it back onto the pin and readjust. Just pull the end down a little bit. Until your tail is a little bit longer. There we go. And then just take it off the ink pen. Try not to let it go flying across the room like I just did. And then you're going to take your fingers and just shape it. So I'm just giving a little bit of a shape, like ear wires look. I'm just shaping it with my fingers. Like so. And then I'm going to take either the tip of your square pliers or your round pliers, either one, and just grab the very tip of your wire. You don't want anything sticking out the back, and just give it a little twist, just a tiny twist like that. And there are your ear wires. Nice. Okay. And now I'm going to attach it to my earring. All I need to do is open this up. Again, I've said this many times, but you don't want to pull this apart. That's not the motion you want. You want to turn until you have an open loop. And then you're going to slide it on. Slide the open loop inside the closed loop, like so. And then twist it closed again. And there's my earring. Isn't that cute? I'm going to hang it on here so you can get a good look at it. Oh, that is cute. It's so lightweight. Oh my gosh, it looks like 4th of July for us Americans. Oh, I should have saved this for the 4th of July. Too bad, too late. I didn't do it. But there it is. Here's my earring. Easy peasy. I keep trying to get a good angle. It's hard when this thing's on there because it wants to flip over. There it is. All right, now we're going to use this same thing. I'm going to do it again. Already done one. This is the exact same thing that I did before, but I'm going to add a second one on. I'm going to do a second one. So I'm going to grab my wire. Yeah, I'm all red today. So I'm going to grab another 6-inch piece of wire. Inches. There we go. All right, make my little U. Okay, slide my beads on. This time it's going to be red. Oh, let me do my little trick that I taught you. We'll get down in there. Blue. 3. 4. And 6. Okay, got my 6 little rondelles on there. Let's cross it over. And pull it into a circle. This one's a little longer on that side, so I'm going to shift it. If for some reason one side looks longer than the other, just shift it and roll your beads over to the other side. And work it until the other side is as close to the same length as you can get. This is still a little longer, but it's going to be okay because I have so much extra wire for some odd reason. But again, I really think you should err on the side of too much instead of too little. That too little is just a nightmare. It means you have to start over. We don't want to have to do that. So now that I've got my wires crossed over and I've got my little circle here, okay, I think that's as good as it's going to get. I'm going to bring this down even closer. Okay, so I've got my little circle. I'm going to twist my wire until I have it nicely enclosed. This wire is on top, this wire is on the bottom. So people always ask, which direction should I go? This one is on the bottom and this one's on the top. So I'm going to twist. If it's facing away, the one on top is facing away from you. You twist in that direction. So I'm going to twist that one time. And then I'm going to bring both of my wires over my beads and just to center. And this top wire, the wire that's on top here, I'm going to bring that down and add a bead for the little center of my flower. So this one is, this is kind of a silvery crystal. I'm going to slide that on. And I'm going to slide the wire again in between the third and fourth beads right here in the center. I have to push my bead down as close as I can get in the center. And then I'm going to I like to curl this wire around because I'm going to bring it under and back through my bead. And if I don't have a curve in it, it makes it harder to maneuver. So I just push that through the center here at the bottom. And then work it up into in between my beads. This is why I said you can also use 24 gauge. It's a lot more malleable and easier to maneuver. But I just like the 22 because I think it gives me, I feel like it's a little stronger. And I like the look of it. And I wanted to do, I wanted to do a little addition. And I just needed a slightly heavier wire in order to add the things I wanted to add. Okay, pushing that down. Be really careful when you do this. It's crystals, you don't want to break them. When you're using pliers against your crystals, you just want to be very careful. Okay, so there's my bead right here in the center of my crystals. There we go. Straighten that out a little bit. Okay, let's go back up here to what I'm calling the top. You can decide what is the top and what is the bottom. And I'm going to make my little loop. Now, this is going to attach to this. So again, I can't make my two loops going in the same direction unless I'm going to attach them with a jump ring which I'm not. I want to attach them to each other. So the way I'm going to do that is to make a loop. This loop, sorry, I forgot to turn my phone off. So that was my friend Loretta calling at the exact time that I asked her to call, and I just completely blanked. Anyway, so I will call her back after this is finished. So get that out of the way. So what I'm going to do is attach this to this. So I don't want to use a jump ring. So in order to attach these two components, one of these loops is going to have to be flat across. And the other one is going to have to be front to back. So in order to do that, I'm going to bend my wire to the front. And then I'm going to grab my pliers, slide my wire about a quarter of the way down my pliers because I don't need too big a loop. I'm going to bring that wire over the top of my pliers and down the back. Then without shifting my wire, I'm going to open my pliers up, reposition them, and bring the wire between the pliers and the bead. So now I have an open loop here, and I can attach it to my other flower. Now again, I want this to, this is the front of my beads. So in order to make sure that it's going to land this way, I need to turn my other beaded loop, slide that closed loop down over the wire and inside the open loop, and then it will flip around and be in the position that I want it to be. So that's what I have. So now I'm going to grab the face of my loop, just like I did with the other one. And I'm going to wrap the wire between the pliers and the beads. I'm just going to give it 3 reps. And snip off that tail. Again, using the flat part so I can get it nice and close. Okay. This little tail, I'm going to push down. In fact, I'm going to cut it a little closer. I want to make sure that that end ends up in between, right there in the center of my loop. Okay. And then there is my little tail back there, I think. Where is it? Yeah, there it is. There's the little end. So I'm going to grab my pliers. Push down that little tip. Again, be mindful of your crystals. You don't want to break anything. Carefully push that down. I can do a little bit better. Let's see, I still feel a little pokey bit. And just take your time. There's no need to rush. Don't want broken crystals. There we go. Nice. Okay. And so this is what we have. Teal one on top, red one on the bottom. And to finish this off, I'm going to do a little spiral on the bottom. I don't need a big spiral, so I'm going to give myself just about an inch of wire is all I need. See how much I cut off? Well, at least it's enough that I can use it for something. And I'm going to grab my round nose pliers. I'm going to make a tiny little little loop. So I'm going to grab the tip of my wire with the tip of my pliers, very tip, and I don't want anything sticking out because I want this as round as I can get. I want it nice and round. There we go. And once I have my little loop, I'm going to continue to wrap the wire around itself. So now I've got my spiral started. I can get that a little more clear. Okay. Then I'm going to grab my square pliers and I'm going to continue to spiral. Just takes a couple of little turns till I have a little spiral on the bottom. And there it is. There's my little earring. Grab an ear wire. I already showed you how to make that. Give it a twist open. Slide it on. Twist it closed. And there's my earring. Cute. So easy. There it is. There's my other earring. Oh, and by the way, I did this one. Say you want something that's that's just tiny. You just want something easy that you can put, I'm gonna go ahead and put this ear wire. Easy that you can put on and wear. That doesn't really have any other embellishment. The flower is the whole earring. Sorry, I don't have any bronze wire down here. I would show you with the bronze wire. Shame on me. I'll put the bronze wire on it before I take the picture. But here it is without any embellishment. Just a little plain earring. And what I did was I took the spiral that I made and I just tucked it into the back. I just pushed it up in the back. So now I have that little spiral in the back and just a plain little flower in the front. But when you're wearing it and it flips around, you have something on the front and on the back. So I have a little spiral on the back, my beads on the front, and it's pretty whichever way you see it. Front, back. Nice. So there you have it, folks. I just wanted to do a nice little quick, easy tutorial of something that you can do to celebrate the upcoming spring that we have. Aren't those adorable? Light and airy and easy to wear. And the best part about it is you can link as many of these together as you want. You can have one. You can have one with a little dangle, or you can have two. You can have three if you want it. I bet that would be awesome. Look at that. Wouldn't that be great? You can dangle as many of these as you want. That's it. Oh, and I wanted to let you know, when you make these ear wires, once you finish making the ear wire, you need to take an emery board or just a regular nail file and round out these edges. You don't want to try to put this sharp wire in your ear without fixing the edges. You want to make sure that they're nice and round and you can get them in your ears safely. Okay, that's it, ladies and gents. That is our video. I thought I'd show you what they look like on. For those of you who don't want something that's huge, we've got this one tier earring. If you want something with a little bit more embellishment, we've got this two tier with the little teardrop on it. I get my camera and then stop being blurry. And we have the two flowers together with a little spiral on it. I am definitely making the other ones that match this because these are too cute. I love it. Anyway, that's it, ladies and gents. I just wanted to give you a nice, something quick, easy, and pretty to make. Getting my head off. So that you have something you can do really fast. I mean, it's you can take this to craft shows and you can make it and people will be fascinated watching you make it. And that's always fun because you can take a bunch of beads, ask them what color they want. You don't have to make them all one color. You can do like I did here and do two different color flowers, or you can make different colored beads all the way around. Wouldn't that be interesting? Your choice, your creative process, your artistic vision. I want to see it. I always say this. Please send me your pictures. I love seeing them. I absolutely love it. My email is jewelrygen20@gmail.com. That's JEWELRYGIN20@gmail.com. Please send them to me. I would love to see them. You can post comments on the library Facebook page. That's facebook.com/DeKalbLibrary. That's facebook.com/DEKALBLIBRARY. You can also post comments on the YouTube page. Thank you to those of you who said, oh, this video is a little blurry. I need to hear those things. I need to know what I need to do to improve. Right now, I'm using my hand camera for everything, so it's not convenient. But once I can get something better going, I will definitely work out the ducats. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you will come back. And if you do, I hope to see you. Or actually, you're going to see me because I can't see you. But anyway, have a great week wherever you are in your week. Have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.